That's it. Watching this morning on ITV. It's time now to look at our first talking point. We'll be looking at political parties, preparedness, and entry for the 2023 election timetable. You know that the President Muhammadu Buhari Friday signed the much talked 2022 Electoral Act Amendment. He signed that into law, and we've also seen that INEC actually swing into action immediately, and they've also came up with timetable. The timetable, as we go, will tell you how it will be coming. 4th April, party primary begins to end at 3rd June 2022, and of course, presidential and national assembly election to take place between 25th of February and 11th of March 2023. So it is now time for political parties that hitherto have been sleeping to wake up. You know, before now that this political party that today they announce convention, tomorrow they postpone. They don't have that luxury of time now. All they need to do now is to, of course, have their convention. After the convention, go for primaries, and then let us also know who will be eligible to fly the various political parties' flag. Well, to look at this and many other issues I have with me, I say he is one of those who the cap fits in terms of looking at the issue at hand. He holds two philosophy doctorate degrees. He is the National Secretary, spokesman for, of course, Pro-APC organization, the National Coalition Group for NCG. He is a political strategist. He's a journalist. Dr. Eli Eberechukwu Dibia. A very good morning and welcome.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Good morning, good morning.
You wear many caps.
Well, it's God's wish.
Yeah.
That is not our wish.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me get your opinion on the timetable.
The timetable is out, and it is timetable was necessitated. The new timetable of INEC was necessitated by the signing of the amended electoral bill of 2022, and I commend the president. Even though some people made it look like a drama, you know, but the president was taking his time and studying the content clause by clause, and then getting advice from people around him and Nigerians as well. Like you can see, in the course of signing the electoral bill, he was particular about making sure that the clause 84 is carefully looked back into by the National Assembly, and that has to do with the issue of resignation of appointees to be eligible to run election or not. And then with the timetable now, the INEC is good to roll, and I don't think they have any excuse to give Nigerians anymore on why we wouldn't have a credible election, because now INEC has been fully equipped that will receive money before 1 year of any election, and that means as we speak they have gotten money for the February 25th presidential election, and at the same time they have gotten money for the March 11 governors and state house of assembly elections. But
so much money.
Of course, whatever it is. But INEC is now like a school child who has been given a school bag, a good sandals. Everything has been given to him. The masses are there.
A school bus.
Yes, just go and study and pass. So it is that there is no excuse. Mahmoud would never give Nigerians any excuse for any failure in any aspect of the elections.
Having 1 year to plan.
Of course, and not only that, they have been given much powers in the new electoral bill. As we speak now, INEC has rights to review declarations that are made under duress.
Yeah, but how do you define declaration made under duress?
Well, that
when you have presence of security all around, all manner of security, civil defense, police, custom, army, navy, they're all there, and you come out to say that the result you so declared was done under duress?
Anybody who opens his mouth and said he declared the result under duress must have indulged in bribery and corruption, and such person will go to jail. Because there are provisions as well for those who are into electoral fraud. Because you won't tell me that with the heavy security presence, with the security presence, party agents, and all, even the people that casted vote, most of them don't go. Like in my area, when I cast my vote, I wait to see the end of the.
Even at ward level, yes, you are provided with security.
Exactly. So there's no room for you to say you declare the result under duress. I think that clause is meant to checkmate the announcer, the so-called what do you call him? The so-called
returning officer.
So-called returning officer. It's meant to checkmate them, but they don't know, because we are going to now know those of them who do things at the back and come in front to say they were compelled to announce the result. Now the voting is by Beavers, and Beavers has been certified okay, even with the last Saturday they run federal constituency and state assembly elections that were held in some states. So immediately you vote, the result goes to the server and everybody sees it. So let me now see why you would declare another thing when another thing was casted. So a lot of loopholes has been blocked. So INEC wouldn't have any excuse to give Nigerians on why we don't have a more credible and a more free and fair election.
What about the officers at the ward level, at the PU level, who come up to say that the result declared was done under duress?
No, most of, when you hear people talking about result being declared under duress, when you lose election, like what happened in Imo State last Saturday, because a particular party won election, the other party that lost keep alleging that it was mad with fraud. An election where one of them scored, the winner scored 9,600 votes thereabout, and the next party scored 7,400 votes. So where is the rigging? Where was the? So that means the 7,000 votes you got was gotten out of fraud, and I mean that is what you are trying to allege. So people should begin to have some integrity in our body politic. You can't be criticizing because you did not get. When it is if you do your homework well, convince the masses of what you are going to do for them, and they vote you in, it is you glorify God and take it as it has come. But when you do not get it, please don't criticize the man that got it. So because most of these things that happens in the polling booth are handwork of those who could not get what they thought they would get, and by so doing, the other man is his result is no longer result because you did not win. So we must have that spirit of sportsmanship in election, whereby if you lose, congratulate your opponent, and then if your opponent wins, thank the person and congratulate the person that wins.
In this country,
well, that is what it should be in the global democracy. But unfortunately, we are facing a system where one wants to have it all to himself, and at the same time have every other thing around him, which is not possible. Like with the introduction of this electoral act, I am so convinced that we are going to get it at least 80% right in 2023.
Have you looked at clause 84?
Yeah, the clause 84 is very specific. Is actually
that for those who are holding
political
like ministers, commissioners,
yeah, as the case may be, that they should resign. I think before the before the convention of the party or the primaries, thereabout.
Yes.
But if you look at the 2011 and 2006, 2010 and 2006, that's the previous electoral act we were using. If you look at it, you see that the provision there was for them to resign 30 days. The resignation was not meant to take place in a long lap. But as far as I'm concerned,
with this clause 84, it means that you cannot be holding an office and you are going to buy from.
Of course, what it means is that the clause 84 is very clear. Yes. If you want to run for any political office and you are holding an appointment,
you resign.
Then you have to resign. As far as I'm concerned, I think it's the best that can happen.
Yeah, but the presidency should be expunged.
You mean?
The president said this clause should be expunged.
When you expunge that particular clause, it means you are trying to favor some class of people. And I know that the Nigerians will resist such an idea. And the National Assembly will have to prove themselves this time.
Yeah, doctor, you know, I said you actually fit into this, having 2 doctorate degrees.
Yes.
Not many people have the opportunity.
I know.
To have this. A bill that has been signed, accented to, it is now an act. Everything in the amendment, Electoral Amendment Act 2022, has been given powers to. Can you expunge any section?
Yes,
when it has been assented to.
It has been assented to, but with some clauses. The 2 clauses that he mentioned includes that section 84, and the Electoral Act of 2022 will not come into play in the legal framework of adjudication or cases that will come up during after the 2023 election. It cannot come in if it is not gazetted. So it is the job of the National Assembly and Judiciary to quicken the process of gazetting this Electoral Act. If it is not gazetted, it's as good as there's no amendment made.
So that means in that process, section clause 84 can be removed.
Of course, at that point, section 84 can be tampered with if the National Assembly so wishes to debate it a second time, because they have been instructed to debate and amend that particular clause. But I wouldn't know.
Should they remove? Should they refuse? What will happen to the?
If they refuse, I mean, the clause goes, because the president doesn't have the veto
he has signed already.
He has already signed. So having signed, you have consented to the contents.
Yes.
So calling for amendment, it is now at the mercy of the National Assembly.
He would have been take it back, remove
that, and bring.
But
for the fact that he played into their hands and he has signed, and as far as I'm concerned, of course, what he has done is a credit to him, because he is an outgoing president. Whatever legacy he's leaving, he'll be remembered for it. At least, if not for anything, that Muhammadu Buhari was able to give Nigerians a credible electoral process during his time. That will go down in history. Our children, generations to come, will not forget it. And so in the same manner, I would urge the National Assembly to do the needful. Ensure that the signed electoral law is gazetted. Because if it is not gazetted...
Untempered.
Yes, if it's not gazetted, it is as good as there's nothing signed into law. Because soon, matters arising from various rerun elections, even the Ondo and other elections that are coming up, are going to be looked into using the 2022 Electoral Act or Electoral Law as a reference. But if it's not gazetted in the law, if it's not gazetted in the Federal Republic of Nigerian law as an instrument of law, it can never apply to anybody. It will just remain there as a piece of paper. So it is important the gazetting is done as quick as possible.
Okay, we hope that is done as quick as possible, because if it's not done, it's what Barrister Michael Ozokeme will call it as dead as dodo.
Exactly.
Okay, clause 9. I want us to look at these gray areas before we now, of course, go into the timetable itself and what we expect from the timetable, what we expect from Professor Jega. You have said in your opening that Jega is likened to a child who has been given a sandal, a school bag,
everything,
brand new uniform.
Yes.
He's got the mathematical sets.
Oh, of course.
He's got the crayon and cleaners.
Every equipment required to excel.
And then a school bus came to pick him, go and drop him in the class.
Well, air-conditioned class.
Air-conditioned class.
Yes.
And in his lunch pack, there's so much there. There's chicken, there's beef.
He has no reason to fail.
There's water and juice. Anyone he wants to take.
He has no reason to fail.
So he has every,
he's well equipped.
Atmosphere to listen to what
Nigerians want.
The teacher would tell him, and he should respond back.
Exactly.
So if you look at that, we'll talk about the plus 94 that says that it now allows for early commencement of campaign season. By this provision, the campaign season will now start 150 days to the election and 24 hours and end 24 hours. 150 days is precisely 5 months.
Yes.
So which means campaigns will now start by October, November this year.
That is exactly what it means.
Yeah.
And
so
the campaigns can only come up when the candidates has emerged. And the electoral act provision is clinically packaged in a way that after the primaries and submission of names by July, I think July 5th is the last day of submission for every political party. And then if that is done, they now have a longer time. They have a longer time
to either add, reduce, and do whatever political...
Yes, that may be involved. And then campaign kicks off within that period of October, and then up to the February and then the March elections. So it's a well thought out amendment, and I think I commend the leadership of the National Assembly, Femi Bajabamila and Senator and the Senate President. I think they have actually shown Nigerians that they are not just what people see them as, that they can as well bite.
Yeah, but CSOs will tell you that they are the ones that actually achieve this feat. That if not for their sustained effort, calling on relevant stakeholders to have this bill signed into law, that nothing would have happened.
Well, it's not just the CSOs. We in the National Coalition Group and other sister organizations, we wrote letters. We personally wrote letter to the president and the vice president, urging them to do the needful and respect the wishes of the Nigerian people by ensuring that that bill is signed. It is not only those who come in the public to show their, to register their displeasure that are actually doing the work. It's just like you as the media man, from this studio, you've been actually putting pressure on the system to ensure that that bill is signed. You mustn't go to the street of Abuja to show yourself before people will know that you contributed. So, but I commend the various NGOs and CSOs, civil society organizations, for that outward show of pressure. And we will attribute that as part of it. But the president we have today is a disciplined man of tenacity and courage. He's not moved by pleasure. If President Muhammad Buhari didn't want to sign that electoral amended bill, he will not sign it. But he signed it because he wants to leave a legacy, so that it will be remembered in the history of this country that at the time, a man from Katsina State who ruled Nigeria, named Muhammad Buhari, signed the law that has stabilized the political framework of Nigerian elections.
That's if other amendment will not come up in future.
Of course, everything is prone to amendment. This act we're amending now came up in 2006 and then amended in 2010. There was another amendment in 2015, but he refused to sign, if you remember. Not until now, he started to sign it. At least every political party now have a level playing ground, whether you are in opposition or you are in the ruling party. So if you're able to convince the masses, they give you votes, you win. There's nothing like rigging. The issue of the era of rigging is gone with the signing of this electoral act.
Okay, no more rigging.
No, it will never come up.
What of vote buying?
Well, vote buying is not defined. If it is a crime, every politician is liable to having committed that. Because
every politician.
Oh yeah, nobody is exempted. And it's not something that just started today. But it is high time. It's high time the women, tell themselves the truth. Is it better for me to collect 2,000 naira and sell off my PVC? Or is it better for me to commit my PVC and vote to someone that will stabilize and enrich the economy? So that if you have 10,000 naira, as it were before now, it will be able to pay your children's school fees, feed your family in a month, and take care of other miscellaneous expenses. I mean, unlike today, you find that if you have 10,000 naira, you can't even fuel the vehicle you are using. So the economy is my own utmost priority. And I know most Nigerians will agree with me that what we need most to put in place is to shape the economy. And that is why we need a technocrat. We need someone who is cerebral, that has what it takes to fix this system to become the president. Some people will tell me, but they said this presidency is going to your ethnic and nationality, Igbo. I said, I am not interested in who clinches that ticket. My interest is producing a Nigerian president. Now that the two political parties have zoned their tickets for presidency to the southern part of Nigeria, which includes southwest, south, and southeast, fine. Credible candidates should show interest and should start that on time.
But you know credible candidates.
What I know is those who will not be president of Nigeria.
But you know those.
I do not know.
But you know the credible ones.
Yes, I can.
Who are they?
You mean those that are credible?
They're credible.
Oh no! You cannot divorce credibility from. I mean, it is eye-catchy. It is eye-catchy. One, you talk about experience. You talk about humility. You talk about courage. You talk about being cerebral, having good qualifications that could match the millions of Nigerian graduates. It is unfortunate. Why do someone send a child to go to school? Is it not for that child to come home with laurels and be greater than you? So, as far as I'm concerned, the person of Professor Emi Osibanjo.
No, you don't have to mention it.
Okay, I thought you wanted me to.
No.
Some other people from the southeast who are who has credentials, who has tested power, who has actually gone through the crucibles of power, knowing what to fix and what not to fix. These are the kind of people. This is the kind of persons Nigerians need at this time.
So the pattern, should it be on candidate or on political party?
Party is a mere platform. Most Nigerians started a party called PDP during this new era of 1999, when G34 was formed. Majority of us were in a party called PDP. And along the line, the PDP had their turn of leadership in Nigeria for 16 good years. In between, the new political party formed, which had a lot of transformation from AMPP, from APGA, from CPC. They came together, and the senior president then, Saraki, and many others came together with one Richard Sokorocha of APGA in Imo State. Then all of them came together and established what we see today as APC in 2010. And by 2011, they started making moves to take over power. They couldn't succeed. PDP continued. Not until 2015, Jonathan saw that if this power is not given to a man who have run 3 times, and that was the 4th one, and the man who have threatened that if the power is not given, that disaster will be spelled. He didn't want to turn Nigeria to what is happening in what do you call it?
What happened in Ivory Coast?
Not even Ivory Coast is a child's play. What was being planned is beyond what you and I can imagine. Because the ripple effect of that threat is still living with us till today. Because it is easy to give monkey a cup of water. But take back your cup now, it becomes an issue. So, but all in all, APC came into power. And APC has done 8 years. So, naturally, we will expect APC to produce the next president. But this time around, they have, in their wisdom, moved the zoning of the presidency of Nigeria under their party to the southern part of Nigeria. The same has happened in PDP. But PDP has not come out to pronounce it. PDP have picked chairmanship slot to the north.
Yes.
But naturally, the candidate of PDP for the presidential election must come from the south. And I'm aware they are looking inwards into southeast, because I have seen the signals that the southeasterner is going to be their flag bearer. And in the same vein, I urge APC to look inwards and get another credible candidate, either from southeast, south, or southwest, that could stand the test of the credibility of the man they are rooting for. Because these days in the media, somebody will, I think we say he's consulting that he's going to be. No. It's not the turn of the northern part of the country is to wait. The power is now moving to the south. It is an arrangement that everybody must respect.
A gentleman arrangement.
Yes, if we want this country to be stable, we must respect that arrangement of north and south, rotation and zoning formula. That's the only way we can have a more consolidated democracy that can move from hand to hand, and every ethnic nationality will feel as a component part, will feel belong to as a component part of this country. If it's not done that way, there will be rancor, there will be skirmishes, and it will be leading to so many other ripple effects that may not be good for the citizens of the country.
Okay, let's look at the timetable now. And in doing that, we are definitely going to look at the preparedness of political parties.
Okay.
Because, when that date was, when the bill was signed, it is now very clear. You have 150 days. You also have 180 days for the election. But if you look at some parties, they already have National Working Committee. Like PDP has already. APC does not have. And the time left for you to conduct primaries now is from today, 28th of February to April 4th. That is the time you have left for party primaries. And you do not have National Working Committee, or you have not done convention that will bring the NWC in place. Where do we stand, especially with the APC, that is the ruling party?
Well, the APC, we remember this particular caretaker committee that is in place, led by the Yobe State Governor, His Excellency Mala Budi, has done so well. When we say he has done so well, it is during his time that we recorded more defections of sitting governors, and the two more are equally coming to make them 25. We have 22 governors already. Two more are coming to make it 24. And
from which and which state?
I don't need to mention the state so that they don't go after them. But we have completed arrangements to welcome them back to the ruling party. And they say he who laughs last laughs the best. That we are going to do our convention by March 26. We have already, our house is already in order, because all the zoning has been made. We've known where the chairman is coming from. We've known where the secretary will come from.
You know the chairman already?
We don't know the chairman, but we've known the geopolitical zone that is producing it. The governors are meeting tomorrow, Tuesday. They're going to have a meeting here in Abuja tomorrow. And in that meeting, they'll be able to harmonize and come together. The APC has now turned to a very peaceful family. I want to tell you that by 26th of March, what we are going to do is to ratify our consensus candidates at various strata. It is not going to breed any rancor. There will be no headache, because all that would have happened has been taken care of by the commander-in-chief, who summoned the meeting where these agreements were peacefully reached, where they say every position in the south goes to the north, and those of them in the north comes to the south. And they did not end there. The Budi committee went ahead to microzone in the presence of the governors and Mr. President, where chairman will come from, where secretary, deputy national chairman, woman leader, youth leader, everything has been completely microzone. So it is now left for the governors and stakeholders at the various geopolitical zones to have met, which I'm sure they have done, because I attended the meeting in my own geopolitical zone to decide who comes from there, who comes from Imo, who comes from Abia, who comes from Cross River, as the case may be, to occupy the positions that are already in our kitty, as zoned by the caretaker committee. And I want to tell you, we are set and ready. So by tomorrow meeting, the governors will be able to dialogue and brief the public on the outcome, and that will now give us a clearer vision. We are already planning the primaries. The primaries are already is being planned already, because by the time a chairman emerges seamlessly with his ESCO, the National Working Committee,
so from what you are saying, the information you are giving us now, which let's say is a privileged one, is that on that March 26th there won't be election, that it will just be
ratification. It is going to be an election. Because the electoral act, recognizes either you do direct or indirect primary, or you do consensus. You must come to a place, a recognized venue. INEC must come. If a family agrees that you are going to be king, do we need to come and drag the kingship again? So it is.
Yeah, but if someone disagrees, what happens? And they say no, he's also able to contest.
No, whoever disagrees. We must first of all look at the criteria for disagreement. One, assuming a northern aspirant to the seat of chairman disagrees, he has no locus to even disagree, because it wasn't, the party did not zone it to the northern part. It was zoned to the south. The party did not zone it to the southern part. Assuming somebody from south is disagreeing with the chairman of who becomes the national chairman, he has no locus in the first place to disagree, because the party in his wisdom have zoned this thing so that there will be peace and legacy left in the party. And by so doing, so if you are not affected, like those of them who are from North Central are to clinch the position of the chairman. So every person who is running for chairmanship in the North Central is free. But if along the line you see reason and wisdom that your brother is more superior to you and can do better, you can concede, and that becomes the consensus. And the electoral act recognizes that the constitution does not frown at that, and that will give us more peace. And I tell you, that is what is going to even happen in our so-called primaries. We're not going to fight ourselves, because we've already seen where the opposition is coming from. So we'll teach them a higher lesson than they have learnt of APC. That APC is peaceful and will remain what we are.
Okay, now, there's a little twist to what we are used to. At this time around, submission of nomination form will be done online and not hard copy.
Going by the
guidelines, by INEC guidelines.
Before you submit anything online as a soft copy, you must have a hard copy. The essence of submitting online is to make it easier for somebody who is in Damaturu and you are running for a particular position. You don't need to take the risk of flying down to Abuja to submit a physical form. But if you can, it can still be taken. The options are there, but the online submission is the seamless, easiest way for you. But assuming you are staying where there's no network, what is your option? You have to come and submit it at Zambezi Street, where INEC is located here in Abuja, and they will acknowledge it for you and stamp. So the online provision does not preclude the hard copy submission, if you have option of doing that.
Okay. All right, if I just join us, the program is this morning on ITV, and we're looking at the 2023 election timetable through the eyes of Dr. Eli Dibia. He holds many caps, and we have seen that he's telling us all that we need to know as it concerns the 2023 general elections. Now, if you look at, my concern actually is to have a seamless, primaries, because when you have a seamless primaries, litigations are reduced.
Very much reduced.
And then if litigations are reduced, you can actually pinpoint, candidates can actually cajole, canvass, and then let people know who they truly are.
Yes, with their manifestos.
Yes, their manifesto. But by the time the person is having litigation in court, is divided. At times, he feels, why do I even want to do this when I don't know what the court will say? You understand? So, do you think there will be enough time for the APC when it conduct, when it carries out its convention in March, and then maybe the next week is coming again with party primaries? Would that be enough time?
Yeah, there's always time where there is peace and where there is understanding. There's always time. By March 26, we will be concluding the convention. And from the newly signed electoral guideline, we have up to July to submit names of our candidates for various electoral positions, both presidency and the rest of them, National Assembly and the state governors and House of Assembly. And that is a whooping March, April, May, June, July. That's almost 90 days. So we have time. What is important is applying the right action at the right time. We are to hold this convention since last year December, if you remember. But for want of logistics and agreement.
Logistics?
No.
For the ruling party?
For want of disagreement.
Yes.
We were unable to get our house in order. But as I speak to you, they have all come together and agreed, zoned and sub-zoned. So everything now is moving in a more sequential order. And I want to assure Nigerians that by March 26, nothing will go short of the production of the National Working Committee of APC, and they will swing into action right there to roll out the timetable for the primaries. So
let me take you back to Clause 34 that gives political parties power to conduct primary election to replace a candidate who died during an election.
Yeah, that's a very good provision as it concerns, some time ago in Kogi State, Governor Audu, at the point of being elected, got illness and God in heaven took him. It became a legal matter. It became a knot to be untied. So with this provision of Clause 34, it is now easier for political parties to, if it is the case of a governor, the deputy governor, the running mate, becomes the governor automatically.
But
if it's the case of a House of Assembly or Senator or House of Reps member, the party will quickly, INEC will give the party a time frame to do another primary, and whoever is produced benefits from that victory. That is what that Clause 34 is all about. So
it's no longer going to be like the way Governor Yahya Bello had.
No. Yahya Bello, he should count himself lucky. That kind of bonus will no longer exist.
You call it bonus?
It's a bonus. It's a political bonus.
Okay. So, but as we begin to prepare for the elections, beginning with primaries, you know that the economy is going to be having some boom in terms of money in circulation. And we also know that we have had a bill, we have had an act that actually pegged what each candidate for any of the political parties should spend, for governor, for president, for House of Rep, for for the Senate. What can we do to ensure that this amount pegged, 15 billion for, I think 15 billion for presidential, 10 for governor, and about 5 for for senator, and then House of Rep. What can we do to ensure that they spend within what is provided by the law?
The agency in charge of asset declaration should. That's why sometimes I tend to wonder how some of these agencies are working. At the point of resignation of your position, or at the point you made up your mind to run for a particular position, that is the point at which you declare your assets and liabilities. The agency in charge of declaration of assets in Nigeria should be on each toe at this time. By the time you declare your assets and liabilities, you'll be able to know what you want as a person, and that will be an index of measuring your level of what you could spend and what you could not, or what you cannot spend. So if you are now aspiring for House of Assembly, or you're aspiring for senatorial election, whereas what you have can only carry you for House of Assembly election based on what you declared, it becomes questionable. And again, the ICPC and EFCC should equally
Code of Bureau.
yes should collaborate with this conduct code of conduct bureau to be able to ascertain the eligibility and credibility and financial status of these various aspirants before they go into the field. Because when you go into the field, my dear brother, the business of the amount you're supposed to spend always overshoots. Reasons being that people from various strata who loves you, who wants you to win, will always be making donations. And when these donations are made, they are made to campaign organizations, they are made to campaign bodies. They may even be made without you knowing that such donations were made. Your handlers and managers will be handling these funds. In that case, you will no longer hold such person liable that he overspent. But if you are able to checkmate the gravity and level of such aspirant before he throws his hat into the ring, the whole thing will be curtailed and Nigerians will be happy for it. But whereby you know too well that I don't want up to 2 billion as a Nigerian and I am aspiring to become the president of the Federal Republic, that alone should disqualify. INEC should disqualify me, because in the first place, what the Code of Conduct Bureau, EFCC and ICPC had come up with concerning my person, credibility and integrity and status, does not worth that. Therefore, it means I'm coming to cajole the office of the president of the
Federal Republic. But I do not think it is what the individual person owns. It's what the party should spend for that particular position. Remember in 2014, as I to be corrected, even President Muhammadu Buhari borrowed money to buy his farm, which means he doesn't even have that amount of money in his account. But he was still able to run, spend heavily, and got a very good result.
Well, there are no parameters to measure exactly the weight of a political party, because what makes up a political party are the individuals in it, and many of them mingles and interacts with most of the captains of industries, foreigners, and the rest of them. Like you said, by the time this campaign starts now, there will be money rain in the country. The economy will look like it has picked up. No, it's a false alarm, because those monies you are seeing most often are being brought in so as to ensure that whoever will make their interest flourish becomes whatever that person is aspiring to become, either a governor, as a president, or as a senator, as the case may be. But you are correct. It is the party that is being timed in the Electoral Act on what to spend. The individual, on his own part, I am saying, should equally be assessed. Because most often, what you call expenditure comes from the aspirant or the candidate. It does not come from the party. The party can only use what they have to conduct primaries, do campaigns from state to state or from local government to local government. But the nitty-gritty of victory that will come out of that campaign or election does not flow from the party. It is the individual who is aspiring that knows where the button to press for him to get victory. And because of the type of politics we have in Africa, in fact globally, because it has happened in America, where votes were recounted, where some states were repeated, and so it is no longer a case of saying that Africa is worse off it. No, rather we Africans are even getting it better than those of them that think they know better. So the idea is that the clause of knowing what to spend, limit of expenditure, should be checkmate by these very bodies I have mentioned, Code of Conduct Bureau, ICPC and EFCC, before the person throws his hat to the ring, even before the primaries is conducted. Because immediately a candidate emerges during primary, whatever you are doing behind is fortuitous official. It's no longer, it doesn't have any effect, because at that point the person is cruising. It is an utter cruise to win, and anything available to him to ensure that he outwits the opponent, or maybe making sure that he wins, he will do it. And these, you and I know, is a function of money. So the measuring the limit of expenditure will depend solely on these various legal bodies to assess the individuals. Because what I observe is that it's only when you are in office that the Code of Conduct Bureau comes with a very multifaceted, multiplicity forms for you to fill, which is wrong. That could be applicable to appointees, but for elective positions, they should be able to know the extent of their. They should be able to know their weight in terms of assets and liabilities before they go into campaigning and winning of election.
All right, thank you for your time with us. Of course, we have looked at so many issues within the time that we have started, but in your concluding word, what will it be?
INEC has no excuse not to do a more credible and a more applaudable election by 2023. And we thank Mr. President for assenting to that 2022 amendment bill. And I'm urging the National Assembly, along with the judiciary, to quicken the process of gazetting that bill. Because if that bill is not gazetted, it's as good as a piece of paper, which will not have any effect in the face of law, should anything happen and litigations and court actions are to be taken. And then I want to really urge Nigerians to look inwards and get someone with integrity, someone that is cerebral, that will replace the person of Muhammadu Buhari come to 2023 as president.
In the south.
The person must come from southern Nigeria. All Northerners aspiring for presidency should please drop the ambition for the peace and sanctity of this country. The presidency is going to the south, and the southern Nigeria, the Northerners themselves are rooting for a lot of people there in the south because they know that it is their turn to be part of the governance of this country.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Eli Eberechukwu Dibia, for your time with us on the program this morning. I thank you so much. I will take a quick break. When we come back, the program continues.